actually not the true demand. The demand would be higher if there was capacity that could address the actual need for AI data center capacity. So this is massive. But we've all seen these amazing statistics around AI. How real is it? Well, we also know that the 4 biggest hyperscalers are spending tens of billions of dollars per hyperscaler per quarter on their data center buildouts. We saw Microsoft sign a $10 billion energy deal with my friends at Brookfield, a $1.6 billion nuclear restart plan for 3 Mile Island nuclear plant just by Microsoft. We see Google investing billions of dollars into small nuclear answers, all just to address this data center challenge. And they're the ones that are seeing the demand directly from the products that they put out there. In fact, I have a good friend who this morning on the front page of the Wall Street Journal at KKR promised $50 billion into this energy build for data center demand. So yes, the predictions and the models are good, but we're seeing the tangible dollars out there. But as Raymond was talking about, when we thought about how could we think about this as a community, right? These are really the largest investors in the world. These are the largest companies in the world building capacity for their benefit, for their customers, for their products. But how can we bring and draw in the entire community into this? And as Raymond alluded to, what we notice is that there are millions of underutilized or unutilized GPUs in the world. And this is everything from on the right side, we have the pictures of the consumer grade GPUs that exist that can be used actually for inference primarily, but for AI and Gen AI capacity, up all the way up through the data centers, right? Where, as you were told, up to 90% of this capacity is unutilized or underutilized, particularly when you go down from the latest and greatest chips. So everyone loves the latest and greatest, the fastest and the best. But once you go down one level, the utilization drops off precipitously. So what we know is actually to address this massive supply-demand imbalance, there's actually some capacity in the system already. I think part of the question is it useful? And then how do you get to it? So what we propose with Axlflops actually is a relatively simple and straightforward way to think about it. We have the consumers, and that's all the startup companies that you represent, or perhaps if you're from Stanford, the university itself, a research organization that needs access to GPUs. You're the consumer. You need to find GPU capacity. You probably want to find it a bit cheaper than you have it out in the market today. We have providers, right? These are providers everywhere up and down the stack that have this excess GPU capacity. It might be some of you in this room with an extra gaming PC snuck in under your desk that you don't quite use as much anymore. But up through, like we said, the data centers that we have talked to around the world that have this capacity, say, well, we have this capacity, and we need to find a way to get it to be utilized, to use it. And then, of course, the validators, a way for us to verify, first of all, that that capacity exists and is online and is available to our network. And then secondly, to verify that the jobs that you want to be done are actually completed and done. So we think about this our product in 2 modes. One is in the VM mode. This is when if you are a technical and have the technical genius and have the engineering team, and you want to go all the way down to the machines themselves. So you could say, I'm doing a training run for my new LLM. I need 10 servers filled with A100s or the latest and greatest chips. And you just tell us that and tell us where you are, and you get full control of those machines. And you get to build the operating system, the security protocols, and your application on top of that. You get control of the machine. Sort of like a lot of how we'd use the traditional data centers, but that will be available to you. We also have something we call the serverless mode. And this is something that's, I think, will make this much more accessible and easy for the community to use overall. Here, we'll take care of all of this back end for you, right? Everything from our AI supercomputer cluster, computing supercluster, we'll virtualize all the different open source models that are out there and make them available to you in an API. you can just focus on the part that you're an expert in, your product and your application layer. For those of you who use the current closed systems like an OpenAI and you just hit the API and you don't see anything that happens behind it, that's what we're going to do for you. We're going to make all the open source models available to you so you don't have to really worry about the back end. You worry about the part that your application and your product is differentiating on. So what do we want to do, right? So as we said, we're going to support more GPU types, right? We're going to make the 3090s or the 4090s available to you, hopefully at a much lower cost. We can support locations around the world. We're in these conversations with every far-flung corner of the universe. Since we don't have to own the data centers ourselves and domicile them in specific locations, we're looking for the community to come and provide us this GPU capacity. We're able to bring it from every corner. So no matter where you are in the world, you'll have access to GPUs that are local to you, to where your company is, or more importantly, to where your customers are. More operations modes, so we'll have support all the different types of open source models, better utilization of the capacity, right? Why waste this amazing capacity that exists in the world? If we see this massive supply-demand imbalance, why not galvanize our community to be a part of this project so that they can utilize this capacity and address the demand and need that exists, that we see very tangibly out in the world today. And then finally, because this is by the community, for the community, we're going to let you set the prices, right? So you can offer up your machine or your small cluster to the community, and you can decide how much you should be compensated for putting out whatever you've got out there, your GPUs, onto the network and system. In our tests and early testing around this, we're finding that we have far less, our prices are far lower than the current prices that you would pay, a half or even less than that. We ran through with a couple alpha customers just to show you that, the network, we're out testing and running this. So in the VM mode, we fine-tuned an LLM just to make sure that our system's up and running. Clearly something you can do on different things, but this is run through our system. One of our customers wants to do this. We also are testing out our serverless mode. So one of our alpha customers wanted us to do translate an audio file into text file. And here in the serverless mode, you can see what we did is we put an API at top of Whisper, the OpenAI open source audio LLM. All we asked is that they specified which region of the world you're in, because you want the machines to be close to your users, and then how many users are going to be using this concurrently, 5, 10, 15. We take care of the entire back end, and we're able to translate the audio files into text files. And then finally, because who doesn't like pictures of little babies fist pumping, we tested the image generation. I think this was Stable Diffusion, but we did it in different locations around the world against the network around the world to make sure it worked for us with the environments, whether it was Africa, Eastern Europe, Latin America, Asia. We want to make sure this worked for everybody around the world, and one of our customers wanted us to test it out and show them that this would work around the world. So anyways, that's Axlflops, and what we really want to do is create an AI supercomputer by the community, but also for the community as well. Thank you very much for your time this morning.